Firstly, we'd like to wish all our Muslim viewers Selamat Hari Raya. And in the spirit of Raya, today we'll be making kuih bangkit. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Selamat datang. My name is Benji.
I'm Michelle.
And we're just two regular home cooks who like to share recipes of the things that we like to cook and bake.
The kuih bangkit we're making today is a Malaysian favourite. You'll definitely see this cookie being sold everywhere and in every household during festival times.
The name bangkit refers to the rising that happens when the cookie is baked.
There are many varieties of kuih bangkit with slightly different resulting colours. The recipe we're doing today is instantly recognisable for Malaysians: the white tapioca and santan kuih bangkit.
With all that said, let's jump into it.
Once again, as usual, you can find the ingredients list and the steps you need to take to make this recipe in the video description below. As you can see here, you don't need a lot of ingredients for this one, and they should all be pretty easily obtained wherever you are in the world. First thing we have to do is to dehydrate the tapioca flour. Kuih bangkit is a really dry and crumbly cookie, and to achieve the best texture possible, we need to remove as much moisture as we can from the flour. We're going to sift all the flour into a pot. This pot is going to go into the oven, so make sure it's oven safe. With your pandan leaves, give them a wash and then wipe them dry with a kitchen towel. The leaves are going to go into the flour later, so make sure that they're as clean and as dry as possible. Using a pair of scissors, cut the pandan into 4 to 5 cm strips and then add to the pot of flour. Give it a quick mix and then it's into the oven it goes for 1.5 hours at 145 degrees C. When that's done and it's cool enough to handle, remove the pandan pieces from the flour and then sift the flour again into a mixing bowl. This time you're going to measure out just 167 grams of flour. Keep the remaining flour for later. You should notice now that the flour is significantly drier and lighter, and that's a good sign. Now it's time to make the dough. In a separate bowl, add the icing sugar and the egg yolk together. It's okay if a little bit of egg white gets in there as well, but we find that the less egg white you have, the better the final texture of the cookie. We're using a hand whisk now to mix it all together, but if you have an electric whisk, that'll work perfectly fine as well. You'll know it's done when the consistency is nice and smooth and the color of the mixture turns a light yellow. Now add this to the flour from before and start mixing it. It's going to be really dry at this point, so it's not going to mix particularly well, and this is the time to add the coconut cream. If you leave your cream sitting for a while, some of the water will separate from the cream, and we want to get rid of this water, so pour that upper layer of water away first before adding to the flour. The aim here is to get a really thick coconut cream with as little moisture in it as possible. Start with just half the coconut cream into the flour and mix together with a clean pair of hands. It will still be really dry at this point, so keep adding more coconut cream in a little at a time. Your dough will start forming together, first into a sandy sort of a texture and then into something that comes together into a ball. The key here is to get the right texture. We want a ball of dough that stays together when you press it, but comes apart fairly easily when you break it up. The next step is to shape the cookies. Line a baking tray with some parchment paper and get your extra flour from before. We're going to use a cookie mold like this. This is going to make cookies that are about 6 to 8 grams each, which is the perfect size. Using the extra flour, dust the mold liberally and then knock out any loose flour. Pinch off a piece of dough and then press it into the mold. Make sure the dough fills up the mold fully and then remove the excess with a dough scraper or a knife. Knock the cookies out into the baking tray. This can get a little bit tricky. With the early batches especially, it can take some effort to get them out, but the more batches you do, the easier it gets to remove them. We find that the trick is to use loads of flour and move the flour all around the mold before knocking out the excess. With the later batches, more of that flour will stay in the mold and this creates a better non-stick layer. These cookies don't expand a lot, so you don't have to space them out too much. Once you have a full tray, it goes into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes at 135 degrees C. The idea here is to use a low heat so that the outer layer of each cookie doesn't bake faster than the insides. If the oven is too hot, this results in a cookie that has a chewier center rather than the all-round crumbly texture that we want. When it's done, let it cool completely on a wire rack. And then it's time to eat. These will literally melt in your mouth as soon as you pop them in.
And there you have it. It really is a great example of a Malaysian cookie with its santan and pandan flavors.
Although I've never really liked the commercial kueh bangkit, this homemade version is really quite good.
We like this version of kueh bangkit because we bake the flour in the oven rather than cooking it on a hot stove. This is less labor intensive and it prevents the flour from getting all over your kitchen.
Just be aware that the flour is really light and can get blown around really easily, so turn off all your fans.
Let us know if you tried this recipe and maybe share other kueh bangkit recipes that you know about.
That's it for this video. As always, stay safe and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!